What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of B.O.P. This is your boy AD, and got my boy C Raw OG triple in the building. What up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Hey, it's a
Happy day today,
happy
baby.
day, happy DeMeco day. It is. You
Yes,
already know
sir.
what time it is. You already know what it is. We celebrating the day. We celebrating the hiring of DeMeco Ryans as the new head coach of the Houston Texans. And you already know we up here about to turn up. We've been all excited on these spaces all day, just going ham, celebrating, talking our shit, pumping our chests, and just, doing what we do. Man, what are your thoughts on it, Chris? Before we go ahead and play the celebration music.
Man, I am ecstatic. It just tickles me, man. I am very fickle right now. It's a very wonderful feeling. And all of the above, man. We got our hometown guy in the city. Everything we wanted. We got the number one candidate that every other team was looking for, and
Mm-hmm.
he decided to come back home to the Houston, Texas, man.
Yeah.
All that downhill projections that we was going on,
Going
when
back up.
it's going back up like the Texas cyclone, man. We going back up. We're going to heights unseen. And folks, get ready, man. Get ready to talk your shit. Get ready to back it up. Finally, stick your chest out because now we got something to be proud of again, man. That boy
Yeah,
DeMeco Ryans is home, bro.
yeah, when they about to pop that press conference because the press conference scheduled on Thursday, you
Yes,
already know what
sir.
they about to go ahead and D'Amico gonna be walking in this right here. Welcome to the South
What
Side.
they do this here?
I took the South Side of H-Town. You got a peep game, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because Texas from the South, and Louisiana from the South, and Mississippi from the South, Atlanta, Georgia from the South.
Uh,
That's how we do the South
South
Side,
side,
South
South
Side. Hey,
side,
South
yeah.
Side, South Side. Everybody do the South Side,
You gotta
South
be
Side.
excited, man.
South
You
Side,
gotta
South
be,
Side.
man.
Everybody do the South Side, South Side. Yeah, South
South
Side,
side.
South Side. Man, I'm trying to tell you, we about to turn up, man. D'Amico going ham, man. Try not to get copyright people. Try
Right.
not to look.
Keep it
So
legit.
right, we trying to stay on. We trying to stay on. Trying not to get put off YouTube, man. But no, man, it's an exciting day, man. Everybody's just excited, happy around the league. The bomb dropped because I was getting a little nervous. They had the second interview and that news and came out. And then it was kind of dead for about 4 hours. Nobody
Right.
saying nothing. Everybody was like, "What's taking so long?" Everybody worried. What's
Right.
going on? Did y'all let them leave? Did y'all let
Yeah,
them go
why did
back
y'all let him leave the building without a
home?
contract? What the hell
Right.
going on, man?
Then the news
Fire
dropped.
Nick Casario. Fire Nick Casario.
Hey, they trying. It's Nick fault. It's Nick fault. He the
But
reason
what
why we didn't get it.
it's Nick fault. What they say? He might be considering Denver
Yeah.
again.
Oh yeah,
Denver
man.
is giving him a call.
Look.
Yeah,
And they
man.
talking all that stuff, man. They talking all that. Then boom, the news dropped that Sean Payton
Man.
signed.
Sean Payton.
Worked out and negotiated a deal with Denver. So he's Denver's new head coach. Coming in. I mean, 5 minutes after that news dropped, they said,
We got you. The
they
Houston
dropped it.
Texans.
Houston, Texas, man.
Yes.
Signed
6 year
the deal.
deal.
6-year deal guarantees he's gonna be here for a while. He's
Yes,
not
sir.
here. He's not a one-stop, shop.
Right.
He's gonna be here for
Right.
a while. Longest contract I think that the Houston Texans have ever given out.
Right.
Uh, and
That's a good
what we
deal.
talking about? Kofi, was it Keefe or Kofi? What they call the little hat? What Leo told us?
Oh, the Kofi hat,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. Kofi Cal.
Cal
Yeah,
throwing up the H.
Kofi Cal, man. Kofi
Kofi Cal, man, and
Cal.
Hannah throwing
Hey,
up the H, and
Kofi,
Nick
hey,
throwing up the H.
look, it
They the
was a
five. I tell you, man. I swear. I mean, all jokes aside, I think Andre Johnson has gotten them and
oh.
took them around a couple hoods in Houston and toured them. They pulled them out of River Oaks for a minute and let them see the real city.
Hey,
And they came back and they realized, you know what? We got to do this for the city, man. We can't keep
yeah,
hiring these retreads and these guys that nobody really wants.
yeah,
They went out and found the best dude, and it
yeah.
was a home run, man.
Man, home run, man. They
Yeah,
knocked it out the park. I
yes,
mean,
sir.
and then it just brings excitement to the fan
Yeah,
base, to the organization. I mean,
that's
there's
right.
videos, from the Houston Texans, DeMeco walking around and people just celebrating and clapping, and
That's right.
everybody's excited, man, and that's the best thing that could ever happen to the Houston Texans right now is just the fan base, the organization.
Yeah,
It's just the excitement, man, and
it
it
is.
brings respectability back to the organization because just what was it when they fired Lovey 2 or 3 weeks ago when they fired Lovey,
Right, right. We was the
um,
laughing stock again.
they were talking about us like dogs, and they were
Yeah,
saying we a racist organization
right. With
and
that
this
bull
and
crap.
that and all that, man. And then Kofi Cal came in and said, "I'm about to hire my
Yeah.
third black coach."
Mm. Fourth,
Fourth. But
fourth.
ever since Cal has been there, we've had, he's hired, from
Four
let's
black coaches.
4 black coaches in a row. Romeo Crennel, David Culley,
Cornell.
Romeo Crennel, David Culley, Lovey Smith, and now DeMeco Ryans. So all that
Right.
racist organization crap, man, needs to go out the window.
That's
Kofi
right.
Cal say, I got it. I
That's
hear you,
right.
we about to represent. So, but now going back to the media, man, I mean, you had the
True.
Stephen A. Smiths, the Michael Irvins, the Skip Bayless, the
Mm-hmm.
Shannon Sharps, you know,
RG3.
RG3, Emmanuel Acho.
What's his name? Acho. Oh, he
Yeah,
talking
Acho.
bad
He was
today.
talking. He was talking bad, man. Then you
Yeah.
had Swagoo was talking about us, man.
Yeah.
Swagoo and all of them,
You know
man.
what I got? You know what I'm tired of? And I think this
Mhm.
is the first day one of the change of this narrative. The Houston Texans are a trash organization.
Yeah, that
They
is
don't
gone.
deserve a coach like that. They don't
Right.
deserve players. Nobody wants to go there.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to play for these guys.
Mhm.
They have no roster. You know, all of that's got to
All the narratives,
that
man.
is over with, man.
Yeah.
And so today is a new day. And if we're being
Mhm.
honest and completely honest, and we step back from the hyperbole and all of the chest poking out and really talk about the situation. DeMeco Ryans was the number one candidate for all of
Mhm.
this cycle of
Mhm.
head coaching
Yeah.
vacancies.
Yeah.
The Broncos wanted him. I think he had an interview that was supposed to be scheduled for the Colts
Mhm.
and
And
one
the
more team,
Cardinals. And the
and the
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
He
So
did it. He
he
did an interview
canceled.
with us, and he canceled two of them
Yeah.
after the interview with Houston. So I think he heard what he wanted to hear when he came for that first interview. And if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, which I'm not, D'Amico Ryan said today that this is my dream job.
Mhm.
And can you imagine a young black man go to college at Alabama,
Mhm.
play for one of the storied programs in college for Nick Saban,
4 years.
get drafted to the Houston Texans, play there, make I think he was rookie of the year, rookie defensive rookie on all rookie
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. Defensive rookie
Uh,
of the year. He was rookie of the year.
He was rookie of the year. He
Mhm.
did all that stuff for Houston. Left here, began coaching, and came back to coach the same team that he played for. That is a
Yeah.
dream come true
That's
for
the
anybody.
prodigal son returns, man. So
That's a beautiful story.
yeah.
I think his, like you said before, Ad, his wife is from Houston.
Mhm.
Her family is from Houston, and
Mhm.
now they get to come back to Houston and do what they always dreamed of doing and running a
Mhm.
franchise right here in the city where it began for him. I think
Mhm.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, this has brought respectability to the organization. I mean, you go down
Yeah,
the timeline, and when DeMeco said this was his dream job, I mean, it kind of the timeline of his hiring just rang true. You sit up here and you had the first interview with Denver, then I think 3 or 4 days later he interviewed with Houston, and then
right.
he canceled everything else. He didn't want he rejected the interview from the Panthers,
Correct.
and he canceled the interviews for the Colts and the Cardinals.
Correct.
So he, like you said, a second ago, when he got to Houston, he already knew his decision was already made. We talked
Well,
about it.
you're right. I think he wanted here before it all started. I think this is
Mhm.
where he wanted to be,
Yeah,
and
he wanted to be
he
here last year too.
right, and he just needed to hear what the plan was for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he heard everything he needed to hear to assure him that, yeah, this is where I want to start my head coaching career.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad. Let's give Nick some credit.
Shout
Let's
out
give
to
Nick some credit, man.
yeah,
Shout out to Nick. Nick's been bombarded with a little bit of negativity about hiring two coaches and firing them after 1 year. And
mm-hmm.
that narrative's got to die too. Everybody knows. Let's break that down first of all for Nick.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, when he got here, I think we was -5. I thought it was -$15 million over the
Mm-hmm.
cap. We were over the cap like $5 to $15 million.
Regardless, we
We
was
had
over it.
we had no draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pick until the third round, and
Mm-hmm.
we had Deshaun Watson's contract and situation hanging over our head.
Mm-hmm.
We paid Deshaun Watson $10 million not to play. We had all of that hanging over our head. No NFL coach wanted to come here and coach this team.
Nope.
So he found a guy that was at the end of his coaching career who had never had a coaching opportunities for to be a head coach in David Culley, and
Mm-hmm.
he came and coached this team. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't want to tell the truth, but I believe it was a semi-tank year. It
Yeah.
was. You're right.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah, we talked about this on the spaces. I mean, the plan was for David Culley to come in, and David Culley was, people may say this and that about David Culley.
Right.
He was the right coach at the right time for the
Correct.
Houston Texans. He
Come on.
did everything that he was supposed to do. He was a galvanizing type of coach.
Correct.
He galvanized the team when nobody thought the team was going to be anything. They really didn't do anything, but he
Right.
made them. He galvanized them enough where they
The guys
competed.
that were here.
Yeah, that were here,
Right.
and he galvanized them where we competed every day.
Right.
I
Because
mean,
the
every
thing
every
was
every game they
every game.
competed.
Right. Because the thing was, AD, that that year we had Nick Caserio had to strip the team down.
Yeah, had
He
to get
got
rid of
rid of
all the
all
bad.
those all
Yeah.
those bad contracts, all that overpaid players that were
Mm-hmm.
here. Unfortunately, we had to let J.J. Watt go pursue what he thought was going to be a successful season in Arizona. Um, and we had to let go of some bad contracts, and we signed a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
1 year players. We weren't going to win anything that year. And
Mm-hmm.
David Culley galvanized the guys that were here and kept it together. He had a great attitude. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is what people don't realize: the national media. David Culley was supposed to be here for 2 years at
Two.
least,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what happened in the second year that the national media don't speak of is in the midst of David Culley going into his second year, Brian Flores got fired from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And
A
Nick
black
is
man, a
a
black
black
man,
man,
a black
right?
man.
You know what
Who
I'm
was the
saying?
Who was the target? He
Who
was
was
the
the yeah? Who
target.
was one of the starting? Well, what I should say, a guy who brought notice to the fact that a lot of black coaches were getting the bad end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
And he did in Miami. They gave him the bad end of the stick. The point is, once he got fired, Nick Caserio saw the opportunity to get a
Mm-hmm.
good coach that can
Mm-hmm.
lead us into the future. So
Mm-hmm.
he fired David Culley. I want to say the same day or the
Well, it
next
was
day.
so. Here's the timeline. So Brian Flores got fired one day. The next day, David Culley got fired, and the
Correct.
following day to that is when they interviewed Brian Flores
On Zoom. And
on Zoom.
when they did the interview with him, it went well. But
Mm-hmm.
the problem was what the national media don't see is Brian Flores wanted the New York Giants job,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were stuck again in limbo. We've
Mm-hmm.
already got rid of David Culley. We thought we could get Brian Flores,
Mm-hmm.
who miraculously popped available and was made available. We
Mm-hmm.
missed on him. We swung for the fences. We missed on him. What will we do next? We couldn't find anybody. And then what we did was we promoted Lovey because Lovey was already in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lovey was coaching for this year, but it was always going to be a 2 year
2 year
tanking
plan.
2 year
Yeah.
tanking process.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that second year, we was going to look for a real
Coach.
future coach for the future. And
Mm-hmm.
so people say, well, you fired him after 1 year, David Culley. You fired Lovey after 1 year. That's not necessarily true. The plan was
Mm-hmm.
David Culley for 2 years, but
Mm-hmm.
we just promoted Lovey and moved him over.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, Doc.
mean, I love
Doc.
Lovey. Lovey's a good man, man. I do care about the guy, man, because he is a good man.
Mm-hmm.
But he screwed us that last week of the game of the
Yeah,
season.
man.
And
And just to
go ahead.
piggyback on it, on what you were saying, is is Nick Casario saw the opportunity to get his coach of the future earlier than what the plan was. Nick
Right,
Casario operates in a, he doesn't do a year by year. He operates in like a 2 to 3 year window.
correct.
So, which is why you see a lot of 2 year contracts or 1 year guaranteed, and then the next year, you can let go of them after the second year or whatever. And that's how he operates, and that's how he operated in the coaching search. He operated with a 2 year plan. Like David Culley was going to be here. He knew we weren't going to be good for this year because of the first year because of the cap. He knew that the second year we still didn't have much cap, and we were going to be a relatively young team, which was this
Right.
past year. So you knew what it was, and you knew we weren't going to be successful. Even if you say, okay, we win two or three more games, so you're talking about 5 or 6 wins, we still don't make the playoffs, still
Right.
got a top 10 pick.
Right.
So I mean, at the end of the day, you still were gonna be a bad team.
Right. Which
Yes,
which 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 would automatically guarantee you a top 10 pick.
right.
And I think that was the goal once we got all of those picks from the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the crazy thing: it would have worked out perfect. We would have had the first pick, and if Cleveland would not have won the game against, I think it was Tampa Bay,
Mm-hmm.
last second catch and touchdown by
And Joku.
Njoku, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
they would have not been 12, but they
They
would
would
have
have
been
been
number
10.
seven.
Oh, it
Number
went number
seven.
7. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you look at the records, they would have been all the way up to number 7. So we almost ended up with number 1 and number 7.
Different.
But
Mm-hmm.
so be it. You know what I'm saying? God is in control. We know, what we need to do. We know where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick can work with pick number 2.
Mm-hmm.
DeMeco Ryans can work with pick number 2 and number 12. And I think it's just so good that Nick was able to transition from attempting to do his 2 year plan in 1 year with Brian Flores, and it
Mm-hmm.
worked out to where we was missed on
Still able.
Flores, but we was able to get DeMeco
And
Ryans.
to be honest, I think we ended up with the better option.
We did.
And DeMeco is who's younger than Flores, and
Yes, sir.
DeMeco also is a coach that you can grow with.
Right.
DeMeco is well respected amongst all circles in the NFL.
That's right.
Players, coaches, on in the front office, everybody. Nobody has a negative thing to say about DeMeco Ryans, and which is kind of opposite of what Brian Flores is, where
Right.
everything outside of what he can do coaching wise is negative. How he
Right.
operates behind the scenes and everything is a negative, negative, negative.
That's
But
right.
with DeMeco, it's all positive, and
Right.
he is everything that we would want in a coach, all rolled into one. Being
We
the
got him.
play, being the players coach, being the intensity that he brings every game. He's smart. He intangible, all the intangibles you could ever ask for a coach, and he has the support, man. He has the support.
Right.
We switching gears a little bit. We talking about the coaching staff. They right now, Aaron Wilson reported that the Houston Texans requested an interview for Bobby Slowick, who's the
Bobby Slow.
passing who's the passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. They also requested an interview for, what is it, Trey Walters?
Trey Waiters.
Trey Waiters.
Yeah,
I think
Waiters,
it's
I believe.
Walters or Waiters. Sorry if we mispronouncing your name, but he's the wide receiver coach for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
And so those are two offensive
Mine, right.
OC candidates that they're requesting interviews for, and they also requesting an interview for what's his name, Marquand
Oh,
Manuel.
Quan Emmanuel,
Well,
born January 12th, 1979. Manuel was an NFL safety, and he ran a 4.4 second in the 40. Yes, that was a little bit of inside joke, you guys. But
hey, y'all gotta catch our spaces, man. We on the daily. Y'all
we had
follow
a
us at the
blast.
bottom. And
Yeah,
y'all
we're
hop
a
on our
tight knit
spaces.
group.
Yeah.
Tight knit group. So speaking to the people that's watching, man, the
Mhm.
people that's watching, go in the comments and type up what is the best thing that you like about the Lovey Smith. What
See?
is the best thing you like about the DeMeco Ryans hire? I did it, bro. I said it.
Yeah.
I messed it. What? What? Go in the comment section
Hmm.
and type in what is the best thing you like about the DeMeco Ryans hire.
Hmm.
Was it the fact that we didn't have to use the number one pick,
Yeah.
like Sean Payton would have cost us?
Hmm.
Was it the fact that he was a hometown hero?
Hmm.
Was it the fact that was the best defensive coordinator with the number one defense in
Defense.
the past 2 seasons? Or if you have another option or another opinion, please
Just
type
drop
it in
them.
the comments and drop us a note, man. Uh,
Yeah.
I personally think that it's kind of a combination of them,
Hmm.
right? I think what's going to be the most intriguing thing the next few weeks, like you was talking about, is him assembling his staff.
Yeah.
You've already talked about the possible offensive coordinators with Slowick, with
Hmm.
Waiters, and with Emmanuel.
Well,
Um,
Manuel is defense.
or his
Manuel is
defense,
the
excuse
yeah
me,
man.
excuse me. There are three guys that coach for the San Francisco 49ers that
Hmm.
I pray that he is able to bring with him. There's a few
Hmm.
more, but there's definitely three, and they're on the defensive side of the ball.
Hmm.
One of them is Chris Conkeruk. Excuse me for messing up
Curate.
his name.
And this is say Curate. Yeah.
Kukrik, yeah, Keurig,
Kukrik. I think it's Kukrik.
Kukurik. Excuse me
Hmm.
for slandering his name.
Yeah.
Uh, I've sat and watched a few videos of him discussing their defense, and
Hmm.
he is an awesome mind to sit there and listen to. The intensity,
Hmm.
the know how, the strength that comes out of his voice would be a wonderful thing for DeMeco to have on his side, so that he can step back and let Chris become the defensive coordinator. Not sure if the 49ers will let him go, but if they do, that guy would be a great defensive coordinator for us. There's
Hmm.
another guy, Johnny, what is his last name?
You talking about
Barrett?
no. Johnny Holland. Johnny
Johnny
Holland.
Holland. There we go. The
Hmm.
linebackers coach. I think
Hmm.
he's been coaching 35 years. He is I mean, just take a look at the 49ers linebacker crew.
Yeah.
He
It's
he brought
special,
the
special. And
right
Johnny Holland coached DeMeco Ryans
in Houston, right?
in Houston. He was
In
the
Houston,
linebackers coach for DeMeco Ryans in Houston.
right. And
And
both of those guys are from Texas.
yes, and just according per Aaron Wilson, the other guy you were going to talk about, I'm pretty sure is Corey Undlin.
Unlin, right.
He is noted as they're looking at him for defensive coordinator.
Oh, the 49ers.
From the 49ers, they're looking at him. He's
Wow.
the secondary coach.
He
So
is good.
they're requesting interviews. So according to Aaron Wilson, they request interviews with Bobby Slowick, Bengals wide receiver coach Torrey Walters,
Mm,
for offensive coordinator, and then they're requesting interviews for Corey Unlin
mm.
and Marquand Manuel for defensive coordinator. And they have they have interest in Chris Kukrit.
Kukri. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Kukri kid would be perfect.
Yeah.
Excuse me, kid. The guy would be
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Um, he's just a strong voice that you need in that locker room. He would allow D'Amico to do other things as a head coach,
Mm-hmm.
and when you think that you need a voice of leadership, of experience on your side, both sides of the ball, he
Mm-hmm.
provides that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be ideal. He knows what DeMeco wants to do. He knows the defense that they run. He knows what he
Mm-hmm.
wants to get called, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you don't miss a step once you if you bring that guy along.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And you know what excites me is the fact that DeMeco is going to have a DC and a OC.
right,
That's to me out of that report from Aaron Wilson. That's the biggest thing is
yeah,
that he's going to have a DC. Of
right,
course, he's going to have an OC, but he's going to have a DC, which is something we were missing last year.
correct.
Is and I think that's just a super positive.
It is.
That it just keeps piling on of
Yeah,
positivity in the whole situation, man.
yeah, because head coaching is a tough job,
Mm-hmm.
and to be overwhelmed with being a head coach in the DC is a tough space to put a young coach in.
Mm-hmm.
I think he comes in and implements his defense. But when you bring a guy like Chris in, you automatically don't have to worry about your defense.
Yeah.
So
But
I think that's going to be good.
yeah, and I think even if you bring in a combination of those guys,
Right,
where you say, okay, Johnny Holland, you're going to be assistant head coach linebackers. You
right,
know,
right,
Chris Kirk, you're going to be assistant head coach defensive tackles.
right,
And then have your defensive coordinator and Unlin, and
right.
have Unlin as the DC, and you bring in Chris K and you bring in Johnny Holland and make them assistant head coaches, and then now you brought all your people over with you, especially and the
Right.
thing about it is that if the 49ers land Vic Fangio, who's supposedly supposed to be the
The
Miami
leading candidate.
Dolphins, yeah, he was supposed to be Miami Dolphins' new DC.
Right.
But he, for whatever reason, that deal fell through, and he's now looking at, possibly San Francisco. So if
Mm,
San Fran brings in Vic Fangio, yeah, you can see Johnny Holland, you can see, Chris K and
right.
Unlin all move on and transition to
Right.
DeMeco's staff. And
Right.
one name I want to look at, since we're talking about the 49ers staff, Clay
Okay.
Kubiak. Clay Kubiak,
Clay
who's
Kubiak. Right.
who's the assistant quarterbacks coach.
Right.
If we can bring him in to be the quarterbacks coach along with,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Slowick, it's just something about having that name, the Kubiak name in the building,
In the
and
building.
then it kind of leads to having his dad come in and consult Gary Kubiak, former head coach of the Houston Texans. You bring him in, if you can have Gary to consult and just kind of guide the offense, especially guide Bobby Slowick and help him
Right.
along, and
Like an
just
advisor.
as an advisor role, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and just come in, and man, that to me that's the perfect storm.
Right.
And I need to, as excited as we are as a fan base, we all need to show patience. We all have to have patience. I know we didn't have patience with Luffy. We didn't have
Right.
patience with Cully.
Right.
But at this point in time, we have to have some form of patience with DeMeco. I think
Right.
that you're going to see a better product put out on the field.
Right.
I think that even though we were competitive these last 2 years in games, I think that it's going to be a different type of competitive along with the wins attached to it. I think that, yeah, we only won 3 games. I think we may win double next year. But even if we don't, let's say we win 5 games or 6 games, I think you're going to see a totally different Texans team.
Right.
So, just the fan base, man, we're super excited. Everybody's ready to go. Just gotta pump the brakes, and because people going wild crazy talking about playoffs on the spaces already. I was like, oh, here we go, here we go. I mean, this and you already
Yeah,
got
man, we winning 10
we
games. We winning
going to the
12 games next
playoffs,
year.
man.
The division is ours, man. We
Man,
coming back. They can't
yeah,
stop us. Here we come. And you know what's crazy?
mm.
I'm on that side. I'm
You ready?
I honestly believe that our division is winnable.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe if we get it right at the quarterback position, if
Mm-hmm.
we add 2 or 3 receivers to this roster, I think 3 receivers in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
If we add some defensive tackles and some linebackers, because I think that we do what the Jags did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a little bit of money in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
We have 11 draft picks. We
Mm-hmm.
have the ability to trade Brandon Cooks, which can get us another third or second or fourth, depending on
Mm-hmm.
who takes them and what they're willing to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So we have almost 12 picks and practically, well, not practically, approximately.
About $35 million in cap space.
Well, we'll end up with about 70.
Yeah, after restructure of Tonsil contract and
Correct.
extension with
Of,
Titus
of
Howard.
Howard,
Yeah,
right?
after you do all of these separate moves and you
We'll
release
end
a
up
few
with about
players.
65, $75 million.
Yeah,
And you
and
can work with that. The cap went up
yeah,
a little bit.
it went
And
up
and
to
the way I see it, the division has fallen off.
yeah
The
the
leaders
divi- yeah
the leaders are no longer the leaders of this division anymore.
the Colts and the Titans have imploded.
Yes, they have.
Um, the
From the
Colts,
inside out. The
I
Titans
want
gave away AJ Brown for nothing.
not for
Right?
nothing, and the Colts interviewed 108 candidates, all to end up with Jeff Saturday again. So I mean, they
How many
everybody
did they interview?
108,
108? Yeah, it was a
108.
record. I think it was a record, man.
It was a record,
Uh,
man. They
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 had
set up
like
the
5 interviews going on at one time on the
uh-huh.
Zoom, and they had 8 dudes sitting in front of them.
Look, they
Yeah,
had
they interviewed.
the
They interviewed everybody.
yeah. They even interviewed the Milby track team coach.
Yeah, my old high school coach said he got a call from him. He said it's too cold up there.
Look, Coach K over there in North Show got a call too. So I
And
mean,
look, he turned
hey,
him down.
right?
He turned him
He
down.
turned him down. He said, "I'm winning championships. I can't go over to
Yeah,
Indy."
but see, they,
Um,
they they behind the 8 ball over there. They
yeah,
don't have an O line.
and the
Their
Titans are
defense is getting older.
yeah.
They were built to win now, and they didn't win.
Hmm.
Tennessee, they don't really know what they're gonna do at quarterback for the long run.
I
Uh,
can see them trading Tannehill.
yeah, trading
I
Tannehill,
and then I can and right now
maybe
that
getting Trey Lance, huh? If Trey
maybe
Lance gets
well
traded
well
anywhere, I can see him going there.
well with the injury to Brock Purdy, basically
But
tearing his
you
UCL
know
off
what
the
you know
bone.
what I seen today, AD?
Hmm.
That they possibly could trade Trey Lance to Tennessee because that's where their GM went, to Tennessee,
But
and in
that's the
return
thing.
they could sign Tom Brady. The 49ers could.
I don't know. Do San Francisco make that move right now and pay that and mess up their cap for Tom Brady? That's
I
the
don't know.
question.
Tom Brady, Tom Brady will take peanuts on a dollar, man.
No,
He'll play for
Tom Brady ain't
Tom
playing
Brady
for
will play
less.
for a
Tom
Coos
Brady
Cup.
ain't. Hey, Tom Brady ain't played for less than 25 million these last
I
5 years.
don't
So
know, bro. I mean, just depends on what they can get back for Trey Lance.
it sounds interesting, but
It does.
we
It
talk
just
it. It's
it's a
spitballing,
bucket talk.
but I think Tom Brady probably if he ends up anywhere outside of Tampa Bay, it'll be Miami.
That's
We
where I
talked
think he's
about it,
going.
yeah.
Yeah, we
But
talked about that earlier.
I
But our
think that
division is winnable, though.
yeah,
That's the
division
point.
going back, yeah, division is winnable. I
Yeah,
mean, I have to proceed with caution
sure.
and then just say hey, I'm gonna be happy with 6 games, 5 games, as long as you're
Yeah,
taking a step forward.
right.
Like I would have been happy this year if we would have won 5 games because that means we're
Correct.
improving. Because
Right.
we won 4 the previous year, we took a damn step back and got worse. And
We
so
can
it's
only get better this year,
yeah,
man.
we can only get better this year. It's only up from here.
Yeah.
But all in all, man,
But what you're
it's
saying is pull back on the reins a little bit.
yeah.
You know,
Have a little
ho-
discretion, have a little
yeah.
patience, man, and
Don't
just
come down on these guys if we don't win 12
right,
games, 13 games
right,
in the
right,
first year. Give them
right.
some time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
No,
Um,
and I think the difference is because people were saying, well, why didn't Lovey get that kind of patience and respect and this and that? Lovey, everybody knew when Lovey was hired, he wasn't here for the future.
he knew that.
Everybody,
That's why he
Lovey,
went for.
everybody.
That's why he went for that 2 point conversion. He he knew he wasn't fit to be here.
He was
He knew
gone.
that when he
So
called that stupid play.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
So with all that, man, it's been a great day.
it's been a great day.
It's happy
It has.
DeMeco Day.
Yeah,
January 31st, I was off by one day. I was so
one
close. I
day,
was, I was so close.
right?
I was about to say we
You
started
wasn't
Black
that
History.
bad. You right in the middle though. You
It's like
said the first.
I say we was gonna start off Black History Month behind the DeMeco Rhymes, man. So we was
Well,
close.
the interview was on the second Oh, so
Yeah,
that starts off Black
yeah.
History Month the right way.
Yeah. So the
You
press
know,
conference, everybody, y'all tune in. It's gonna be pretty sure on the Texans YouTube page on
yeah.
Sports Radio 610, February 2nd at 4 p.m. Central. What
4 p.m.
3:59 to be exact? 3:59 p.m. Central. Everybody, Houston fans, y'all go and check out the press conference. I'm pretty sure you're gonna see Andre. You may see JJ. You may
Oh
see
yeah, you're
some.
gonna see all
Yeah,
the
you're gonna
house
see
gonna be
all
full.
all the former players
All the
coming
former
in.
players.
So.
And listen here, Texas fans. No, they can't bring all these players back to be coaches.
Mm-mm.
Stop asking for JJ and Andre and Seth
Just,
Payne to be the
just,
defensive coordinators, and
just know they gonna be in the building.
they're
That's
gonna
all
be
that
in the
matters.
building.
That's all you
We're
want is
gonna
for them to be in the building.
we're gonna have a reason to celebrate. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest thing, man. We
Yeah.
get new uniforms,
Yep.
new
It's coming.
helmets,
New
uh,
quarterback.
new quarterback. We was joking earlier about this being roll Texans, like roll tides. People don't like that. They're gonna call us roll Texans
Yeah, roll
because
Texans.
you got a head coach from Alabama. You got John Mechie from Alabama, Christian
Mm-hmm.
Harris from Alabama,
Alabama.
and if we get Bryce Young,
Hey, hey, hey!
ooh-wee,
Look, look,
we get that young brother some targets, man.
look.
You
We.
get that young brother, and see, I'm gonna give you my spiel on here, everybody. Here's my plan. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say this real quick because I know y'all probably seen a lot of it on Twitter, but I finally get to say it on the airways. Go get Bryce Young at 2. Here's something y'all might not like. I had us getting Zay Flowers at 34, but today he was showing off in the Shrine Bowl with the Patriots coaching him. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he's gonna make it to 34.
Get them at 12.
Get him at 12. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
the best receiver to come out of that draft. When I say Zay Flowers, I want you to think Antonio Brown without the issues. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to think Tyreek Hill with all the speed and the quickness and the shiftiness. He is
Mm-hmm.
that good of a player. He had a horse. I don't want to say that. He had a bad quarterback throwing him the ball at Boston College.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch some film on Zay Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
We need a guy like that. We've never had a guy with that much electricity in his body. He is
Yeah.
awesome. And then at the 33rd, 34th pick, you can maybe get your defensive end. You may can pick a
Mm-hmm.
linebacker. You may can pick somebody like that, a big D tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that third round, I'm getting more receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting more receivers. I'm looking for a
A.T.
guy named
Perry.
Jonathan Mingo,
Mm-hmm.
A.T. Perry from Wake Forest,
Mm-hmm.
6'5", 230 pounds. He's also balling out in the Shrine Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
doing big things. The reason why is because all we have, and I'll try to make this short. The reason why is because we don't have no
Weapons.
weapons
Mm-mm.
at all. We
Mm-mm.
rolled out with Chris Moore as one of our best receivers of the whole year, and I think that is a shame. He did
Mm-hmm.
such a great job, but you're not winning games if Chris Moore is the best receiver on the team. Not knocking Chris Moore because he balled out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just saying, all we got is John Mechie and Nico Collins coming back. We have Amari Rogers that's there on the roster as well.
Mm-hmm.
You go get Zay Flowers, A.T. Perry, and Jonathan Mingo. Now you have a young core group of
Mm-hmm.
guys that could grow with Bryce Young.
Well, I challenged Jonathan Mingo and just swapped Jonathan Mingo for Devon A. Chain in the
I
third
would, I
round.
would,
And
I could do that.
as a receiving back, it gives you another weapon at running back. So you have a
Yes,
two-headed monster at running back, and
yes.
he can be a receiving option as well. So
A
that,
chain.
yeah, A Chain, Devon A. Chain. I mean, I'm being a homer right now, and
Right, right,
Texas A and
right.
M. So,
Well,
but
that's a good choice. He's a good choice. Now, here's the thing, AD. A lot of people say, well, what about your defense? What we gonna do with defense? You bringing in a defensive coach. You just named off a bunch of wide receivers, and that's good. Bryce Young does need talent around him. You got to surround him with talent, and that's very true. But what are we gonna do with defense? This is what you do with defense. You spend your free agent money
money
on
on defense,
defense
yeah.
because there is no free agent wide receivers worth any money.
Mm-mm.
There's no free agent talent that's at tight end that's worth spending a bunch of money on. But there is a Deron Payne.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Javon Hargrave. There is a David
Ayamata.
Onyemata.
Mm-hmm.
That David Onyemata kid is key.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get one of the two out of Hargrave or Deron Payne, which should be
Mm-hmm.
our number one target, we might have to overpay him. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's asking for $20 million
Mm-hmm.
in free agency. If we shoot him $22 million to get him over here, kind of like how the Jags did with
Mm-hmm.
getting Christian, what was his name? Christian
Christian
Kirk.
Kirk. Mm-hmm.
They overpaid him a little bit, but they got what they needed,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the situation that the Texans are in. In order to get those big time free agents, those foundational pieces, we might have to overpay them a little bit. And the issue, the good thing is, it's not going to hurt us because we're not paying anybody.
Mm-mm.
And with the Bryce Young's new contract, we won't pay him for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you can build around, and we've got to go all in. Once you get that quarterback at number two, you have to build right now. You have 5 years, and it's perfect timing with a new coach. So David Onyemata for sure,
Mm-hmm.
either Deron Payne or
Hargraves.
Javon Hargrave in the D tackle, and then a guy like T.J. Edwards
Mm-hmm.
from the Eagles. There's another guy that I heard. Who was that we was talking to today?
Um.
Was it
Yeah.
Lee?
Yeah, it was Lee talking about that third linebacker from San
Yes, sir.
Francisco.
Aziz Al
Aziz. Yeah.
Shire.
Mm-hmm.
Aziz Al Shire. I think he was number 51.
Mm-hmm.
He flies around. I think he's going to follow DeMeco over here.
Yeah,
So
and Jimmy Ward. Jimmy
and
Ward
Jimmy
is
Ward
yeah,
too.
Jimmy
If you
Ward.
get Jimmy Ward to pair up with Petrie, that back end is ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And then
I mean,
you still got Nelson and Stingley on the corner.
woo,
So
you got Nelson
and
Stingley.
and you got King and Tavier Thomas on the inside.
We
So
should be straight.
secondary, and if you get a second linebacker to pair with Christian Harris, and then you sit up here and you bring in the defensive tackles. I mean
Right.
Double O was productive. You got what's his
But
name?
you
Um
got Green, you got Hughes.
Hughes, Jerry Hughes is who I was looking
Jerry
for.
Hughes, what did he give
So
us? 9.5 sacks?
yeah, he gave us almost 10 sacks. So just those players like that can suffice you for you can survive with 1 year with them
With those guys,
with
right?
those guys. But
But you got to build up that interior D line.
mm-hmm,
We were 32nd in the run defense. We've
yeah,
got to build up that interior D line. You've got to build up the middle of your defense with your linebackers. If you build up that front four and the front seven, if you build up that front four and you get two more linebackers that can run with Christian Harris,
mm-hmm,
you've got the 49ers defense all over again.
yeah,
And that's
and
perfect for DeMeco.
that's the thing, man. We gotta as much as we talk about because people say draft defense, draft defense. If you put a few pieces on the defense is going to be even better than what it was, and
Right,
it showed improvements, especially towards the end of the year. So
right,
if you get somebody with defensive mind like DeMeco and whoever he brings to be the DC, and you
right.
build that team, and you get a few pieces here and there to add to it, you
Sure.
got to build with the offense, man, because
Right,
you ain't in the NFL these days. You're not winning games 7-3. You're not
right.
winning games, 3-0 or 10 to
You got to
7 or
put up some
something.
points on the
You got to
board.
put point. You got to put up 20 points, man. At
And
least 20 points a game.
Bryce Young could sling that ball around that field and get it to the talent, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get the ball in the hands of the ball carriers, the guys that
That's all
make
you
this stuff
need.
happen, that's all. And that's what you can do. You get him to release that ball quick. Now we do need a center,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point we will have to replace AJ Cann at some point. He's holding it down for now,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely at center. But you can get that in the fourth and fifth rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my little spiel, man, about
Yeah.
beefing up the team. We got all off season to talk about that.
Oh, we got a long off season because we about to go into the
Yeah.
draft process, man, and we got a special guest. We planning on coming on after
Yes,
the
sir.
season is finally over after the Super Bowl. So
Yes,
we got
sir.
quite a few guests that are supposed to be scheduled to come on. So just be prepared on the lookout for that.
Yes,
But
sir.
all in all, man, once again, happy DeMeco Day. Let's
That's right.
celebrate. Let's Southside. Let's do the Southside all
Yeah,
night long.
yeah, yeah,
Let's go,
yeah, yeah,
you know. But
yeah,
y'all, man, this has been another episode of
yeah. Hit
B.O.P,
like,
man.
hit
Yeah.
subscribe.
Please like, share, and subscribe, man.
Yes,
Sub to the
yes.
channel. Like I said on the last round table, we finally crossed over that 100 subscriber mark.
We
This is
growing. We growing, man.
we're growing, man. We just started at the beginning of the season. So this channel is growing, man, and we thank everybody who liked, who shared, and who subscribed, and who's supporting of the B.O.P podcast, man.
That's
Whether
right.
it be the Texans or the Rockets, man. We
That's
thank
right.
y'all all, and we are coming with the Astros B.O.P Astros podcast coming soon in April when the Astros season start. So be on the lookout for that as well. But man, we want to thank y'all. This has been another episode of B.O.P. This is your boy AD. Got my boy C Roll in the building, man, and we want to thank y'all again. We'll see y'all next time, man. Peace.
So, H Town, stay down.